High-ranking officials are very concerned that Donald Trump will use his secret police to stay in power. Check it out, leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. So this is a letter, this was published over at defense1.com, you know, a kind of military defense-based website. It's by John Nagel and Paul Yingling. John Nagel is a retired Army officer and veteran of both Iraq wars, head of the school at the Haverford School outside Pennsylvania. And Paul Yingling is a retired U.S. Army lieutenant colonel, served 3 tours in Iraq, another in Bosnia, and a 5th in Operation Desert Storm. They wrote this letter over at defense1.com to General Milley, who is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And they start out by reminding him of his oath to, support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And they write, I'm just going to quote from pieces of this letter. If Donald Trump refuses to leave office at the expiration of his constitutional term, the United States military must remove him by force, and you must give that order. Due to a dangerous confluence of circumstances, the once unthinkable scenario of authoritarian rule in the United States is now a very real possibility. First, I'm going to sneeze here, I think. Hang on. First, as Mr. Trump faces near certain electoral defeat, he is vigorously undermining public confidence in our elections. Second, Mr. Trump's defeat would result in his facing not merely political ignominy, but also criminal charges. Third, Mr. Trump is assembling a private army capable of thwarting not only the will of the electorate, but also the capacities of ordinary law enforcement. When these forces collide on January 20th, 2021, the U.S. military will be the only institution capable of upholding our constitutional order. They go on, basically what they're saying is they're anticipating Trump loses. And then, noon on January 20th is the day that the Constitution and the law say that the White House is handed over to Joe Biden. So continuing with their letter. The stakes of the 2020 election are especially high for Mr. Trump. In defeat, he will likely face criminal prosecution. And then they go through, the Manhattan District Attorney, Deutsche Bank. He pressured the ambassador to Great Britain to move the British Open. Many examples that could lead to federal charges. And then they go on to say, Mr. Trump is following the playbook of dictators throughout history. He is building a private army answerable only to him. When Caesar faced the prospect of a trial in Rome, he didn't return to face his day in court. He unleashed an army personally loyal to him alone on the Roman government. No student of history, Mr. Trump nevertheless appears to be following Caesar's example. The president's use of militarized Homeland Security agents against domestic political demonstrations constitutes the creation of a paramilitary force unaccountable to the public. The members of this private army, often lacking police insignia or other identification, exist not to enforce the law, but to intimidate the president's political opponents. These powerful cross currents, Mr. Trump's electoral defeat, his assault on the integrity of our elections, his impending criminal prosecution, and his creation of a private army will collide on January 20th. Senate Republicans, they write, this is a letter to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Senate Republicans, already reduced to supplicant status, will remain silent and inert, as much to obscure their complicity as to retain their majority. Now, this is why I'm saying call the Republicans in the United States Senate now and let them know what you think about this at 202-225-3121 or 224-3121. They both get to the same place. Senate Republicans will remain silent. Mr. Trump will dismiss the Biden win as fake news. The courts will take months working through the docket, producing reasoned rulings that Trump will alternately appeal and ignore. Then the clock will strike at 1 minute after noon, January 20th, 2001, and Donald Trump will be sitting in the Oval Office. The street protests will inevitably swell outside the White House, and the ranks of Trump's private army will grow inside its grounds. The Speaker of the House will declare the Trump presidency at an end and direct the Secret Service and federal marshals to remove Trump from the premises. These agents will realize that they are outmanned and outgunned by Trump's private army, and the moment of decision will arrive. At this moment of constitutional crisis, only 2 options remain. Under the first, U.S. military forces escort the former president from the White House grounds. Trump's little green men, so intimidated to lightly armed federal law enforcement agents, step aside and fade away. Under the second, the U.S. military remains inert while the Constitution dies. As the senior military officer of the United States, the choice between these two options lies with you. Should you remain silent, you will be complicit in a coup d'etat. And then they remind Mark Milley of his oath. I, Mark Milley, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bring true and true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, and they go through this whole thing, so help me God. And they close it by saying, the fate of our republic may well depend on your adherence to this oath. Will Mark Milley keep his oath? Will Donald Trump leave office? Will his attack on the post office succeed? Will we be able to shame the Republic? I guess the biggest question here, since really the power in the Senate lies with Mitch McConnell and the Republicans, and they're the ones who are enabling Trump to do this, can they be shamed? Can they be influenced?